Good morning. Today is Friday, February 14th. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Vice President Vance is set to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy today on the sidelines of the Munich Security Conference. NPR's Deepa Shivaram reports the U.S. is taking a more active role in efforts to bring an end to the Russia-Ukraine war.
Vance is also set to deliver remarks at the annual conference, where the Russia-Ukraine war has been a central focus since it started nearly 3 years ago. On Wednesday, President Trump held a lengthy phone call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin and said the two would meet face-to-face in Saudi Arabia soon. Trump afterward also spoke with Zelenskyy over the phone. Vance spoke at the Munich Security Conference last year as well and said it was time for the U.S. to pivot away from its focus on Europe and turn to China and East Asia as the future of U.S. foreign policy. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News.
President Trump has announced reciprocal tariffs against countries around the world. NPR's Danielle Kurtzleben explains.
Trump described what he means by reciprocal tariffs.
On trade, I have decided, for purposes of fairness, that I will charge a reciprocal tariff, meaning whatever countries charge the United States of America, we will charge them. No more, no less.
The administration said they will determine what each country's tariff level should be. Commerce Secretary nominee Howard Lutnick said the first tariffs could come as early as April. Tariffs are taxes paid by American companies that import goods. Trump acknowledged that the tariffs could lead to higher prices, but said he hopes they will create jobs. Earlier this week, Trump signed a separate order for 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. Danielle Kurtzleben, NPR News.
NPR has learned that the Trump administration has started firing thousands of workers at agencies across the federal government. NPR's Jeff Brumfield reports some of those workers were responsible for sensitive nuclear secrets.
Around 300 employees at the National Nuclear Security Administration were expected to lose their jobs, according to a source within the agency who was not authorized to speak to the press. Those jobs include overseeing the nation's stockpile of thousands of nuclear weapons, reducing the global threat from weapons of mass destruction, and spearheading the government's emergency response to nuclear accidents. The terminations affect employees that have only been with the agency for a year or two. Many other agencies, including the Department of Education and the Small Business Administration, are reporting similar firings. Jeff Brumfield, NPR News, Washington.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is refusing to extradite a New York doctor to Louisiana. Last month, officials in Louisiana charged the doctor with prescribing abortion pills online to a Louisiana resident. Louisiana's Governor Jeff Landry says the doctor needs to face trial, so justice will be served. Governor Hochul replied on MSNBC's The Rachel Maddow Show.
We have a doctor who's trying to help someone in another state who's been denied the right of control over her own body, just doing what her oath requires her to do. And now she's treated like a criminal. It was not a tough decision for me, Rachel. I said no and hell no. I will never, ever send this person into harm's way to stand for 15 years of possible jail time for just being a doctor.
This case could be the first to test New York State's SHIELD law. It protects providers who prescribe abortion medication to patients in states where abortion is outlawed. Hamas has named the 3 hostages it will release tomorrow, as originally called for in the ceasefire agreement with Israel. The hostages include an American and a Russian who are dual citizens with Israeli citizenship. Their release will resolve a dispute with Israel that had threatened to derail the ceasefire agreement. A kayaker paddling in the Strait of Magellan around Chile's southernmost region got a shock last weekend. Kayaker Adrian Simancas was paddling when suddenly a humpback whale briefly emerged from the water and scooped him into its mouth. Then it went under. The whole thing was filmed by Simancas's father, who was kayaking with him. But seconds later, the humpback whale spit him out, and Simancas resurfaced with his kayak. He then scrambled to safety with his father. I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News in Washington.